The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian shares rise on Thursday amid optimism. The Japan-U.S. tariff agreement will pave the way for more trade deals. President Donald Trump announced a trade framework with Japan while imposing a 15% tariff on Japan imports. This prompts traders to scan the horizon for the next deal to emerge. Australia's ASX is currently in the red, while the rest are in positive territory. In the currency markets, the US dollar depreciates against the Japanese yen, the Singapore dollar, and South Korean won, while it is flat against the Hong Kong dollar but appreciates against the Thai baht. Meanwhile, the Australian dollar appreciates against the greenback. In commodities, gold prices are down by 0.3%, while oil markets are up. In the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin is down, while Ethereum is up. President Bongbong Marcos says the U.S. will continue supporting the Philippines in key areas. Fresh from a 3-day visit to Washington, the president outlined the results of his meetings with President Trump and other top U.S. officials. He said Washington gave assurance that ties between the two countries remain strong and that support will go on for the military, the economy, and other key areas. Here's part of the president's statement.
In my meeting with President Trump, we reaffirmed our ironclad commitment to the Mutual Defense Treaty. I thank the United States for its consistent support for the preservation of regional peace and stability and for upholding the rule of law in the South China Sea. We discussed enhanced cooperation on cybersecurity, energy supply, resilience, and critical infrastructure. I underscored the importance of our multilateral engagement, especially with neighboring countries, to continue to reinforce the network of common alliances in the region. We welcome the U.S. government's pledge of an additional $15 million for private sector development under the Luzon Economic Corridor Initiative and an additional $48 million in foreign-assisted projects. We will continue to work with the State Department as well with the U.S. Congress for the implementation of these programs. I conveyed to President Trump that we remain positive about the future of PH-U.S. trade, including investment relations, especially in the context of economic security and a fair, balanced reciprocal trade. We expressed our commitment to continue engaging his team to further bolster PH-U.S. ties and strengthen Philippines' economic security.
The Philippines may have lost a crucial edge after accepting a 19% U.S. tariff rate on exports, nearly wiping out its advantage over ASEAN neighbors. Speaking to BNC's Business 360, ASEAN economist Aris Dakanay pointed out that we had the opportunity to attract a lot of investors abroad, given the country initially had the lowest reciprocal tariff rate across the developing region.
Now, with the 19%, which is roughly in line with Indonesia, and with slightly just below Vietnam, which had the 20%, that advantage that the Philippines could have had has diminished. And this is, I think, I sympathize with our local exporters, our local businessmen, that it is a lost opportunity for the Philippines.
Still, the Philippines is expected to be the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia in 2025, supported by strong domestic demand. Dakanay adds, despite the underwhelming 19% tariff, we have not fallen off the investor radar just yet, citing strong U.S. ties and a robust reform narrative. Presidential Economic Advisor Frederick Go quick to clarify the new tariff deal with the U.S. is not yet final. In today's news briefing in Malacanang, Secretary Go asserts trade negotiations are not yet finished. He also points out the 19% tariff on Philippine products is the second lowest among Asian countries.
Ang gusto kong ipaliwanag sa inyo na ito ay universal tariffs po galing sa Estados Unidos. Hindi po tayo nakipag-usapan sa kanila tungkol dito. This is something na inimpose po ng Amerika sa buong mundo. Okay? Ang pangalawang gusto kong paliwanag po sa inyo, ang magbabayad po nitong taripa ay hindi po tayo. Ang magbabayad ng taripa na to ay ang mga Amerikano, ang mga importers, ang mga buyers ng mga produkto galing sa buong mundo. So sa huli, ang magbabayad po nito mga tarifa ay mga consumers po ng Amerika. Mga mamamayan ng Amerika na bibili ng mga produkto na inimport nila, sila po ang magbabayad nito mga tarifa. Pangatlo po, ang gusto kong talagang i-emphasize ay ang 19% na tariff on the Philippines is one of the lowest in Southeast Asia. Maliban sa Singapore na 10% ang tarifa nila, tayo na po ang second pinakamababa sa Southeast Asia. Bakit po to importante? Importante to dahil kapag mababa ang ating tarifa, makaka-attract po tayo ng mga foreign direct investors in the Philippines para magtayo ng mga pabrika, magtayo ng mga negosyo sa Pilipinas para makapag-export ng kanilang mga produkto sa Amerika. At kung hindi po mababa ang tarifa natin, itong mga foreign direct investors po ay magtatayo ng mga pabrika o ng mga negosyo nila sa mga iba't ibang bansa sa Southeast Asia. So importante na tayong second to the lowest dito sa Southeast Asia para dito po sila magsitayo ng mga negosyo nila. At ang huling gusto kong ipahayag ay hindi pa po tapos ang negosasyon. Our third technical working groups will continue to work with their counterparts from America to finalize the details of this arrangement. Marami pang kailangan pag-usapan. So hindi pa po tayo tapos.
Several senators and business groups say the agreement between Manila and Washington is not fair to the Philippines. The trade deal with the U.S. could benefit the country's semiconductor and electronics sector, a major export driver. SEIPI Chairman Norberto Vieira says the agreement may help lower the cost of imported equipment and raw materials from the U.S. These inputs are crucial for assembly, testing, and packaging. SEIPI is hopeful the zero tariff clause will support a modest pickup in export shipments by year-end. BlackRock's Global Infrastructure Partners, or GIP, is set to acquire a 40% stake in Aboitiz Infracapital, or AIC. Aboitiz Equity Ventures, parent firm of AIC, confirms it is in talks with GIP for the strategic sale. The announcement follows a meeting in the U.S. between President Bongbong Marcos and Aboitiz Group President and CEO Sabine Aboitiz and GIP Chairman Bayo Ugunlesi. Marcos describes the potential partnership as a strong vote of confidence in the Philippines' future. He highlights its role in building infrastructure that is more resilient, inclusive, and forward-looking. The whole province of Pampanga is under a state of calamity. Assessing the damage from incessant rains and the severe flooding, Governor Lilia Pineda today met with LGU officials. They report more than 200 barangays are flooded, affecting more than 160,000 families. The Public Works Department also reports the province needs more than 1 billion pesos to fix its flood control infrastructure. Damage to agriculture is pegged at 365 million pesos. The United Nations highest court on Wednesday told wealthy countries to comply with their international commitments to curb pollution. Those who fail to do so will have to pay compensation to nations hit hard by climate change. The International Court of Justice said countries are also responsible for the actions of companies under their jurisdiction. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres welcomes the opinion of the court, adding that the Paris Climate Agreement goal should be the basis of all climate policies. We're taking a short break. More business stories are up next. You're watching Business Brief. Digitalization has yet to reach many sari-sari stores across the country, but it's becoming more of a necessity because without it, these stores rack up huge losses daily. Sujin Kim joins us on the line to tell us more. Sujin, go ahead.
Mai, amid torrential rains, typhoons, and habagat-fueled supply chain disruptions, sari-sari stores remain the most accessible source of food, medicine, and daily essentials for millions of Filipinos. But beneath this critical role is an operating model that loses money daily, not due to lack of demand, but due to lack of systems. Manually run stores lose between 10 to 15% of potential sales from stockouts, up to 5% due to overstocking and spoilage, and roughly 10% due to pricing and inventory errors. Combined, this results in an estimated efficiency loss of 3,000 to 5,000 pesos per store per month. With an estimated 1.3 million sari-sari stores nationwide, only 25 to 30% are currently digitized. This means close to 900,000 stores still operate without technological support, a gap that represents both risk and opportunity. Digitized stores report up to 51% increase in brand sales, 139% growth in active buying accounts in just 2 months, and a 268:1 return on promo spending. Digitization allows stores to anticipate demand, prevent stockouts, reduce waste, and offer promotions typically exclusive to supermarkets. Moreover, inflation hits general trade harder.
The reason that inflation hits sari-sari stores harder than it does other retail outlets is because the cost. So now you're thinking about cost, logistics, and when inflation hits, the cost of gasoline increases, the cost of manpower increases. So the cost is multiplied and amplified by the time it reaches the sari-sari store.
A 2% cost increase at the wholesale level can translate to a 16% price increase at a sari-sari store, especially in hard-to-reach communities. Technology helps absorb these shocks by making supply chains more transparent and efficient. Packworks says digital transformation of sari-sari stores is no longer optional. It is essential to lower prices, improve efficiencies, and protect consumers at the very edge of the supply chain. And those are latest updates from Quezon City. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Sujin Kim. The Philippine housing backlog has reached 6 million as of July. Federico Laksa, President and CEO of the Social Housing Finance Corporation, tells BNC's Business 360 that the need for socialized housing alone is around 2.1 million units.
These figures for
6
context.
million covers a number of income deciles, a number of a wider segment of the income population. The other part is being addressed by the private sector. But the more urgent need is on the lower income deciles. I would say the first, second, and the third deciles.
Yeah.
Laksa says the country has produced over 300,000 units of socialized housing annually with help from the private sector.
Because the private sector has the capacity, they have the resources, they have the technology, they have know-how. So partly, that will be addressed by the private sector, especially when we talk of the ceiling, high ceiling of 850,000 for socialized housing.
Yeah.
But for the other income deciles, it will be the government who should be able to address that.
Yeah.
Senator Riza Ontiveros not in favor of the proposed August 4 start date for the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Her comments come as the Senate prepares to convene as an impeachment court following the transmittal of articles of impeachment from the House of Representatives. Senator Joel Villanueva had earlier said several senators agreed to that timeline. But Ontiveros tells Bilyonaryo News Channel's On Point the date is too far off given the seriousness of the proceedings.
Parang ang tagal naman, from the 29th to the 4th, halos isang linggo. And gaya ng lagi kong sinasabi, mula nung 19th Congress na nag-convene ang Senate Impeachment Trial Court at nagkaroon kami ng jurisdiction sa process na ito, continuing process yan. In fact, as we speak now, Pinky, convened ang korte, ongoing ang trial. At any time, pwede nang i-issue ng presiding officer yung mga summonses o mga invitations na iyon. The same way, pwede na niyang pasumpain yung mga bagong senador bilang senator judges din.
Ontiveros also stresses that the trial calendar must be decided collectively by all senator judges and not set unilaterally.
Tulad sa mga korte, sa judicial branch, ang impeachment trial court din naman, kami, Senate bilang impeachment trial court, dapat yung mga usapin ng trial calendar, pinagkakasunduan ng lahat.
Hindi lang ng
Senator
majority.
judges. Baka ang pwede nilang gawin ay i-convene kaming mga senador, pero bilang senator judges para pag-usapan yung trial calendar. Any day now, we can and should be proceeding with trial.
Senator Ontiveros is calling for transparency, urging that BICAM budget talks be open to the public. Her statement comes after a Politico.com report revealed that Senate President Cheese Escudero allegedly inserted 142.7 billion pesos into the 2025 national budget, mostly for infrastructure and flood control. On BNC's On Point, Ontiveros said she's deeply concerned by the allegation and believes greater public scrutiny can curb abuse.
Kaya mas nagkakaroon ng currency yung mga panawagan to open the BICAM. Hindi lang yung chairs ng dalawang panels, Senate at House, hindi lang yung full panels ng dalawang houses ng Kongreso, but any and all interested Filipinos, yung mga budget reform advocates, kayo sa media, or kahit sino pa sa mga kababayan natin. I don't see in principle why there would be any difficulty about that. I've raised that call, sinabi na rin niya ni Sen Ping, narinig na rin natin kay Speaker. So,
Maybe this year?
Maybe this year, we should really give it a go.
We're taking a short break. A look at how Philippine stocks did today coming up next. You're watching This is Brief. U.S. President Donald Trump vows to cut regulations and fast-track artificial intelligence projects. His administration has released a new AI blueprint aimed at easing environmental rules and expanding AI cooperation with allies. This move is part of efforts to maintain the U.S. lead over China in this critical technology. The plan includes promoting the export of U.S. AI software and hardware, cracking down on state laws seen as too restrictive to AI development. This marks a shift from former President Joe Biden's policy, which restricted global access to advanced AI chips.
America is the country that started the AI race, and as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard, we're going to win it. Because we will not allow any foreign nation to beat us. Our children will not live on a planet controlled by the algorithms of the adversaries advancing values and interests contrary to our own. We don't want to have contrary interests.
She's a familiar face to viewers of Bilyonaryo News Channel, but this time, the spotlight was on her. Mai Rodriguez was honored at the Bravo Awards for her work in media, financial literacy, and youth empowerment. Sujin Kim returns with this report.
These are the women whose strength and courage seldom make headlines, yet whose diligence, compassion, and vision quietly transform families, workplaces, and entire communities for the better.
8 remarkable women were honored this year for their outstanding contributions in various fields, from arts and sports to science, education, and media. At the Bravo Awards organized by the Zonta Club of Makati and Security Bank, spotlight was given to the nation's unsung heroines.
The winners and nominees we recognize tonight are living proof that greatness arises from devotion to community, unwavering belief in oneself, and the courage to soar no matter the storm.
Supporting women is something we are deeply committed to, both in what we say and what we do. I see firsthand the impact women make in our bank and in the communities we serve.
And representing the business sector, our very own Mikey Oreta, lead business news anchor of Bilyonaryo News Channel. A veteran in the field, Mikey is a familiar face every morning on Business 360, breaking down complex economic issues into conversations that matter.
Because business isn't just about numbers. It's about access, it's about inclusion, and it's about possibility. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the best investors aren't always venture capitalists. Sometimes they're the very people who simply believe in you.
With over a decade of experience in economy, markets, and policy, Mikey is the go-to interviewer for top economic decision makers in the country. She bridges the gap between boardroom strategy and kitchen table reality, redefining business journalism in a way that's human, relevant, and powerful.
I was once that little girl with no genuine access to business education. Never did I imagine that I'd be reporting business news, or that outside the studio, I'd be working to build platforms that help kids, especially young girls, see business not as something that's intimidating, but as a tool to reach their full potential. And over time, I found myself not just reporting business news, but working towards making it more accessible, more human, and more empowering.
Beyond the newsroom, Mikey founded Kidopreneur, a business fair for kids designed to build the next generation of Filipino entrepreneurs. Her belief, business isn't just for CEOs. It's for students, teachers, and every Filipino ready to take charge of their future.
Thank you for the trust and for this incredible honor. It's galvanizing and it's a reminder to keep on raising the bar. This award isn't just a recognition, it's a reminder to keep going, to keep building, and to keep telling stories that matter.
In a time of rising economic complexity, Mikey Oreta has become the face of accessible business news. And at the Bravo Awards, her work was recognized not just as journalism, but as nation building. Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Well deserved, and congrats, Mikey. Philippine shares fall back into negative territory today after rising nearly 2% yesterday. The PSE index ended lower by nearly 0.3% to close at 64.44, finishing the day as the third worst performer in Asia. Among the sectoral indices, only services ended in the red, with mining and oil rising the most at more than 1%. Decliners narrowly outpaced advancers at 99 to 97. Total value turnover reached 6.4 billion pesos. More than half of the day's most active stocks ended in the green, with DigiPlus rising the most at more than 12%. Meanwhile, the foreign exchange market, the peso, is currently trading at 56.67 against the greenback, appreciating from the previous close of 56.88. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business, only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. See you then.